Hi everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel to another edition of the weekly Tottenham News Review with me, Lee The Dorset Spur. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Okay, so let's get into it. We ended last week with a draw against Getafe, played behind closed doors at Hotspur away, 1-1 in the end after Getafe gained one ahead, which was a bit of a worry, but it started the Tottenham team into life, and Gallagher with an excellent goal right after their goal, just to get us back into the game and see it through. It was only a 70-minute game. And then there was a second game later on in that day for the players that didn't play in that game to play against the under-21s, which the first team won 2-1. Andy Robertson after the game was interviewed after the game, and he said it was tough. It's been really tough week pre-season wise. I think that's what some people don't see behind the scenes. We've been working hard this week, probably not a normal week preparing for a Saturday game. It was a good test and more minutes in the legs for all of us. We'll take the positives. Jet lag has been something I've never had like that before, that's for sure. We were 11 hours ahead in New Zealand and 9 hours ahead in Australia, so we needed a couple of days to adapt. We have also been doing long days in the meeting room. The manager is trying to drill home what he wants us to do and how he wants us to play. We've been long hours on the pitch. That's what you need to do in pre-season. When it comes to the game, you're probably a little bit leggy and a little bit mentally tired as well, but we had to get through it, and I think we did. I don't think it was the prettiest and probably not the greatest of games, but it will stand us in good stead. Following that, Jan-Paul van Hecke was also interviewed, and he said it was being a physical game. Sometimes it's good. I thought today it was a bit too much, a bit from their side. Sometimes it's not necessarily, especially in a friendly. I think in a normal game, maybe they have 2 or 3 red cards, but that's also maybe the way we play. We knew beforehand that they can do it, but then it's a friendly, so sometimes you think maybe it's a little bit less. But on the other side, we also need to be at our top, because if you don't put in your foot, then you're not going to win it. If that's what the game asks, you also need to put your foot in and battle with them, otherwise they win the battles. That's what you don't want. That's the first thing in football. You need to win. You saw sometime it was a bit heated, but that's because of the reaction. If you get kicked, then you're going to react. So that kind of sums the game up pretty much, really. It was a little bit dull in the first half, if I'm being honest, but it did kick on, especially after they scored their goal. It cut right through the middle of us. I think Bergvall was caught out of position and opened us right up, and it was a well-taken goal from their point of view. But the team got back into it. They made a real effort, and Richarlison on the edge of the box managed to kind of knock the ball loose, I guess, and Gallagher ran onto it and side-footed it into the net for a really, really good goal. And that was kind of the big part of it. Tonali got into a little bit of pushing and shoving, a little bit of handbags partway through the game. But it was a good game, a good test. Like he said, Jan-Paul said, you know, there was some very strong challenges in there, not sort of thing you see in a friendly. But yeah, it was good. It was good to get that. And of course, now we move on. I think there's 2 more friendly games, Hoffenheim on Saturday and Hoffenheim on Sunday. I think that one's behind closed doors. But yeah, so a good pre-season so far. We've maintained an unbeaten run. So, you know, you can't ask for more than that at this stage. So this week we saw Manor Solomon to West Ham. Here we go. Deal was agreed. Medical book, £5 million, £2 million add-ons. All approved by Tottenham, and Solomon signed a 3-year deal with an option until June 2030. There was a little bit of feedback on that, but let's not go into that. I think it's a good deal for West Ham. I do think Solomon is a decent player. It'll be good in the Championship. He was a really good player for Leeds. And I think he just wants to go out and prove himself, get a run in the team and prove himself. And I think he will. I think he will there. I think that's a good bargain for them for £5 million plus a couple of million if they get promoted back to the Premier League, which I think they probably will. Then all round good deal. And it gets another player off the books who's never going to play for Spurs. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense. And then we also had FC Cologne had reached a full agreement with Mikey Moore. There was also a verbal agreement with Tottenham in place. The player remains a loan deal without an option to buy. As reported, the only thing missing is a final green light from Roberto De Zerbi. A deal on now waiting. Well, from what I can tell, that deal is still waiting. I haven't seen anything to confirm that Mikey Moore has officially moved on loan. But obviously a player that Tottenham rate very, very highly and don't really want to lose him. Listen, an opportunity to go out to Germany and play, I think is a sensible one. I like the league out there. Good, passionate fans, big crowds, that kind of thing. Something that he kind of got behind when he was up with Rangers. So I think it's another good step up to go there and see how he gets on. Another country, different language and so on. So it'll be a real test of character. But still waiting, as far as I'm aware, to see that deal actually go through. Middlesbrough were in pursuit of Ashley Phillips, but that was paused over last weekend without a final agreement in place. Borough had agreed an initial fee of £7 million with Tottenham for the 21-year-old defender, and they were also ready to sign off on a series of potential add-ons that Spurs officials had wanted to include as part of the deal. Phillips is understood to have visited Borough's Rockcliffe Park training ground at the end of last week in the hope of a transfer being finalised over the weekend. However, as the situation has developed, so all parties decided to pause discussions with some elements of the proposed transfer still to be completed. The deal is not off, with Borough officials expected to hold further talks with Phillips and his representatives in the hierarchy at Spurs in the next few days. So, as I understand it, this could potentially be a £20 million transfer for Tottenham, depending on a load of add-ons and stuff like that, promotions and all that kind of jazz, which would have been a really good deal for Spurs in my view. They do have matching rights, and there was also I believe it was a 20% sell-on fee, might have been 10%. But I think it was a 20% sell-on fee. So they kind of covered themselves an awful lot. So not sure what the sticking point is. Haven't heard any more about that over the last few days. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But looks like Phillips to Borough is going to happen. Of course, Lancashire went there as well and scored on his debut. So looks like they're picking up a few of our players who could do well for them. Let's hope so. Harry Kane, the England captain, is set to sign a new deal at Bayern Munich despite links back to the Premier League and Tottenham Hotspur. He's focused on chasing more trophies with Bayern rather than Alan Shearer's Premier League record. I think the one for me that he desperately needs is the Champions League. I think once he's got the Champions League, I think that kind of shuts everybody up. They can moan and say what they like about the Bundesliga being a farmers' league and so on. But ultimately, if he goes away and wins the Champions League, then they'll have to give that man some respect that he absolutely, really, truly deserves. He still has time to come back and beat Alan Shearer's record. I think he will do that. I think he'll come back in the last sort of few years of his career and smash that record and shut everybody up from that point of view as well. So also during the course of the week, it was 1 year ago that Fabrizio Romano broke the news that Tottenham were interested in Man City winger Savinho. And a year later, are we still interested? It seems we are. That one's going on and on and on and on. It's getting rather boring now. No one seems to know what really happening apart from those behind the scenes. It seems that Savinho really wants to come. It seems he's happy to agree the deal that Tottenham are offering and so on and so forth. It's just up to Manchester City to release him. The talk is all about it being needing a replacement, but how many players do they have that can play in that position? It's just crazy. It feels like there is something else going on. I don't know what it is, unless of course Tottenham aren't really interested and it's just paper talk. But it just does seem a bit of a strange one that it's being reported all all over the place. So again, a year on, we could be sat here another year without it happening. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. There was a little bit of a cheeky dig from James Maddison this week. He put out a message on Instagram, feeling good after another good session today with the team, working so hard to be healthy and have a great year. Definitely had any reoccurrence of an injury I've had before. You're in the know isn't in the know. It had been reported that he'd had a recurrence of a hip injury that he'd had before, and that's what was keeping him out and so on. But he's kind of come back and said that's not the case. I don't know. Matters is Matters. He likes to have a little bit of cheekiness about him. He likes to do that kind of stuff. There's obviously something that's keeping him out because they're keeping it as a precaution. He's not getting any minutes at all so far in pre-season. So there's obviously something going on. But perhaps he doesn't want to tell us what it is. Perhaps it's something quite small and they're just being super, super careful, which you would kind of expect. The only thing I would say is we need to see Maddison back, because without him, we don't have any playmaker. So that is still a concern. Xavi is out as well. Kulusevski, we still haven't seen anything from him. Oh, Jesus, there's a big moth just thrown in front of me. So, you know, it would be great to have him back firing all cylinders with something to prove, because we really, really do need him. So, the club also announced that Mickey van der Ven had signed a new contract with the club. Regarded as one of the best central defenders in Europe, Mickey has consistently excelled since joining us from VfL Wolfsburg in August 2023. A key player in our UEFA Europa League triumph in 2025, including a spectacular clearance off the line in the final against Manchester United. Mickey also showed leadership qualities when he was captain the team in the final crucial 6 matches of the season under Roberto De Zerbi. Mickey said, "It's a special moment to sign a new deal and a proud moment for me and my family. I've always loved Spurs from the first day I stepped here. I love the club, I love the fans, and I've developed really well. It's clear the direction the club wants to go in, and I want to be part of it. I'm excited about what's to come." Sporting director Johan Langer said, "I am delighted that Mickey has committed his future to the club. His growth and development over the past 3 years as both player and person has been huge, and he is now without doubt one of the outstanding defenders in European football. Mickey represents the type of player we want to build our future around, and I look forward to seeing him continue to play an important role for many years to come." Head coach Roberto De Zerbi said, "Mickey is one of the best centre-backs in Europe and an important player for us. He has the qualities, mentality and ambition that we want at Tottenham Hotspur, and I am happy that he has decided to continue his journey with the club. We are building something strong here, and players like Mickey are an important part of that future. His decision to sign a new contract shows his belief in what we are creating together. Mickey is quickly approaching the 100 appearance milestone for us. He's 45 in all competitions last term, including 34 of 38 in the Premier League, took him to 96 with 10 goals to his name. Those 10 goals include one of the best seen at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as Mickey ran the length of the pitch, Heung-min Son style, before slotting home against FC Copenhagen in the Champions League last November. Mickey has already written his name permanently in the club folklore with his overhead kick to deny Rasmus Højlund in the UEFA Europa League final in 2025, preserving our 1 lead against Manchester United. Captured on camera from inside the net, it was one of the most enduring images from Bilbao and our recent history. Born in Wormer, Netherlands, Mickey spent his early years locally with WSV 30 Wormer before joining FC Volendam's youth team in July 2013, progressing through the ranks to make a total of 48 senior appearances before his move to Wolfsburg in August 2021. He made 41 appearances in Germany before switching to Spurs. At international level, Mickey has made his senior debut for Netherlands against France in October 23. He was part of Holland's squad for the Euro 2024 and this summer's World Cup finals. He now has 24 caps to his name. So a player really developing well, a player who has been lauded by all of the managers that have been at Tottenham, from Ange, who signed him, all the way through to Roberto De Zerbi. For me, I'm happy for him to sign his new deal. I think it's brilliant The issue that I've always had is he seemed to lose his way midway last season. It looked like he wanted out. But that could have just been because it was under Thomas Frank or Igor Tudor. And to be honest with you, I don't blame him, because I felt like I wanted out at that point as well. Okay, former Spurs player Brennan Johnson has signed for Everton in a swap deal for Crystal Palace for Dwight McNeil. That got a little bit of news, mainly because TalkSport pundits decided that they would have a bit of a dig about him and McNeil, saying that they were crap, which Brennan Johnson hit back, saying that he's won more than both of those two. So yeah, I don't blame him having a bit of a dig. It must be quite difficult. Had a difficult time at Palace. Never really took off for him. So I do hope that going to Everton will give him the kickstart that he really, really needs. I like him. I like him as a character. I liked him as a player. I thought he did really well for us. Top goal scorer that season. Scored in the Europa League final. And for me, he was fantastic. And and I really, really hope that he can develop his game. He was a great goal scorer, but he just would not take players on, even though he had that pace. And that was frustrating watching him do that. But arriving at the right time, at the back post, shooting from outside the box and stuff like that, he could do it. He had that. So it's just disappointing that he didn't really kick on from there. In other good news, Randall Kolo Muani was obviously gone from Tottenham, and he was talking to Tutto Sport, and he said there were several things that didn't work for me. It was something more personal. I think my mind was a bit elsewhere. I wanted to return to Juventus. It was an episode in which in every player's career, not every season can be positive. We can say that. For me, it was a year in which I learned something. I had injuries, my first injuries, but luckily I was able to recover from all of them. I think it's due to all these things, but now it's a new championship. It's a new chapter for me. So I think there'll be a new version of me, let's say. So let's see how he gets on in Italy, because clearly his mind was elsewhere when it came to last season. He felt like he never really, really wanted to play for Spurs. And that was really, really disappointing, because we could have ended up going down because of his lack of real effort. It just didn't feel like he was ever going to get anywhere. So for one, I'm glad to see the back of the man. Spurs boss Roberto De Zerbi on the summer transfer window talking to Sky Sports. In the transfer market, we've not finished yet. The players who will arrive, and then we're looking forward to start another season with different results. The club has been great because they closed very, very important players. I think we have not finished yet. Okay, we spent money, but other clubs have the same or more in the past. And to compete in the Premier League, you need to first level of the players, the ambition, what I said, the ambition of the owner, of the club, of the board, of the people who decide behind me are very important and very high. So we have to find a condition to build a strong team, a stronger team than the last season, to compete again for the top of the table. Absolutely spot on, absolutely spot on. And it indicates to me that we're not done yet. He's talked about bombers and all sorts of stuff over the last sort of week or so. So it seems to me that he's obviously got his finger on the pulse and knows what's coming up. So let's trust in De Zerbi that he's got the backing that he really, really wants. It was reported as well, Tottenham are stepping up their interest in pursuit of Monaco and USA forward Valorant Balogun. That was according to L'Equipe in France. No, L'Equipe, sorry, in France. I haven't seen any more of that come out, so we don't know whether that's right or not, or whether that's just paper talk. But obviously, we do need a striker. The Lewis family have been in the news as well, as part of a consortium bidding for the new NBA Europe London franchise. But this was against a former Spurs chairman, Daniel Levy, who's part of a rival consortium. Hopefully that doesn't affect Tottenham in terms of firepower, financial backing. Maybe it would even help. I don't know. But yeah, so let's see how that one goes out. But yeah, it looks like the Lewis family and Levy are at loggerheads once again. Yang Min Hook has joined Belgian Pro League side KVC Westerlo on loan for the 26-27 season. Joining us in January 2025 from the K-League One side Gangwon FC, the 20-year-old has since enjoyed spells on loan at QPR Portsmouth and recent Coventry, where he claimed a championship winners medal after the Sky Blues secured promotion to the Premier League. Capped twice at senior level for South Korea, the forward has been selected to represent the country under 23 side at the 2026 Asian Games in Japan, which begins in September. So, looking at him in pre-season, he doesn't look ready. It doesn't look like he's going to do anything spectacular. So currently, I would say that's probably a good deal. Going over to Belgium, let's see how he develops. I don't think he's going to make it at Tottenham. But what do I know? We'll have to see. Tottenham Hotspur in the Carabao Cup have been drawn against Charlton Athletic, and that will take place on Wednesday, the 26th of August at 7:45. So we're in that straight away. Home draw against a lower team, so that's good news. You hope, you think. So let's see where we go from that point of view. Hopefully that will kickstart our season, and we can maybe make a bit of a run for that competition. As well as the FA Cup, as we don't have European football this season. It would be great to win one of those domestic cups for sure. And so the last couple of big stories, Christian Romero to Atletico Madrid. Here we go, agreement in place between clubs with Tottenham at €40 million package and add-ons included in a deal off in July. Barcelona decided not to proceed days ago. Spurs were never going to sell to Arsenal. Atletico done. QT Romero set to travel to Madrid for Atletico Madrid move with €40 million package, also including a sell-on clause for Tottenham. Told Spurs will get 15% of any future sale. So most people are glad to see the back of Romero. I think he is a brilliant footballer. I think he's absolutely top quality, and €40 million is laughable. But we are selling outside of the Premier League, and those leagues just do not have the money that the Premier League has. And so I am not shocked at that. But for Tottenham, he played 62%, I think it was quoted, of all the games that were available to him in his time at Spurs, because of injury and sending offs and so on and so forth. It looks like we're pretty stacked at the back now. Looks like, Jan-Paul Van Hecke, for me, looks like a real leader. He looks like he's settled in straight away. International team player with Van der Ven. So that feels a little bit like it could work really, really well. We've also got Senesi coming in. We've got Robertson. And so, so we've done a little bit of work at the back anyway. So, and we've still got Danso, who I think has done a decent job covering. So let's see how that pans out. But we're still waiting for confirmation of that one. I haven't seen anything today, although I must admit I have been a bit busy. But I'm sure that one is going to go through. It feels very much like it's ready to go. So, and the final one really is Spence. Tottenham to Inter. Spurs will receive a minimum of 25.6 million, and the deal could rise to 30 million. It's understood that Middlesbrough included a sell-on clause in the deal that took Spence to Tottenham from the Riverside in 2022. It's believed that Middlesbrough are in line to receive 15% of any profit already, and having already benefited from several add-ons in the deal that totaled around 20 million. Spence playing in the Champions League for Spurs and playing competitively for England triggered add-ons payments to Borough, who will now further benefit from the sale of the defender 4 years ago. And Fabrizio Romano, he already did the here we go to Inter, and I have seen pictures of him in a coat in Italy, which seems a bit crazy wearing a coat in Italy, but in this weather. But there you go, he is a boy from South London. I am a little bit disappointed with this one. I do think that Spence has a lot to offer, but I guess the question is, does he want to stay? And if he doesn't want to stay, then of course De Zerbi has said he will help players leave. And so it seems to me that this is being driven by Spence taking his opportunity to go out to try something different. I know he's been to Italy before with Genoa, so maybe this is a big step up for him that he really, really wants. Maybe he liked it out there and really fancies it. And to be honest with you, this is probably a good time for him to go. He's at his peak. Having had just such a really good World Cup and stuff, I don't think we probably won't find an opportunity to sell him elsewhere, to be honest with you. No one else is kind of stepping in and chasing him. So it looks like this is the best option. And we have got a sell-on clause and stuff like that, I think, in this deal. But we'll have to see. But I say, it looks like Middlesbrough are going to get a good bump out of it as well. So yeah, so that's where we are at the moment. I haven't seen the deal actually physically gone through yet as I'm recording, but that may well be by the time this goes out. So so that's the big headlines and the big things hitting the news for Tottenham Hotspur over the last 7 days. Thanks for watching and listening. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. I'm Lee The Dorset Spur. I do have my own channel. If you'd like to pop over and say hi, sign up, that would be fantastic. I don't mind. If you don't want to, that's okay, no problem. I'll see you on the next one. And as always, up the Spurs.